You know, in the big fight to protect our food, some of the best soldiers out there are, well, they're assassins hiding in plain sight. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of nature's most clever champions, the Mealybug Destroyer. So let me ask you this. What if an assassin looked exactly like its victim? I mean, think about it. A predator so perfectly evolved that it could just stroll right into the enemy's camp completely unnoticed. It sounds like something out of a spy movie, right? But in the tiny world of insects, this is a very real and, frankly, a brilliant strategy for survival. And here it is. Take a look at this. This perfectly shows what I'm talking about. Now, what you're seeing here, that's not a mealybug. No, that's the larva of a ladybird beetle called Cryptolaemus Montrouzieri. It's covered in these waxy white threads, making it a nearly perfect copy of its prey. And this disguise lets it sneak in and just devour entire colonies from the inside. But to really get why this disguise is so crucial, we've got to meet the villain of our story first. Yeah, every good story needs a villain, right? Well, in orchards and greenhouses all over the world, that villain is very often the mealybug. And believe me, the damage these tiny insects can do is just staggering. They literally stab into plants to suck out the sap, which weakens them and stops them from growing properly, but it doesn't even stop there. They also excrete this sticky stuff called honeydew, which then causes this nasty black mold to grow. That mold blocks sunlight and basically chokes the plant. For anyone growing citrus or grapes or even just ornamental plants, this is a huge deal. We're talking massive financial losses, especially because pesticides have a really tough time getting through the mealybug's protective waxy coat. Okay, so we've got our problem. We've got our villain. It's time to introduce the hero, a highly specialized predator that's become a real cornerstone of modern biological control. So meet the adult Mealybug Destroyer. It's a little ladybird beetle, only about 4 to 6 millimeters long. And it doesn't look like your classic red and black ladybug. This one's a bit more subtle, you know? It's got this shiny, dark brown or black body, but with a really distinct orange-brown head and tail end. Now, it's a pretty good predator on its own, but the adult beetle, that's only half the story. I mean, with common names like the Mealybug Destroyer or the Mealybug Ladybird, there's really no question about what this bug does for a living. Its scientific name is Cryptolaemus Montrouzieri, and yeah, it's from the same family as all the other ladybugs. But this particular species, it has a very special superpower. Because the beetle's real power, its secret weapon, it's not found in the adult. No, it's in its youth. It's when it's young that it pulls off one of nature's most incredible acts of deception. As Professor Santi Longo explains it, the larvae are covered in these wild-looking white waxy filaments. Now, this coating does two things. First, it helps protect them from ants, because ants often act like bodyguards for mealybugs to get their honeydew. But more importantly, it's the perfect camouflage. There's a scientific term for this, and it's pretty cool. It's called aggressive mimicry. It's this strategy where a predator evolves to look just like a harmless species, so it can get super close to its prey. The Mealybug Destroyer larva is the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing. It just wanders through the mealybug colonies without anyone suspecting a thing, gobbling up eggs and nymphs as it goes. So, if you were looking really closely, how could you tell them apart? Well, here's the tale of the tape. The predator larva gets way bigger and it moves a lot faster. Its waxy threads are longer and curlier, but the real giveaway is underneath. The larva has 6 actual legs that you can clearly see, unlike a mealybug whose legs are kind of hidden away. The whole life cycle is just a masterclass in efficiency. The females lay their eggs right inside the mealybug's own cottony egg sacs, so their babies get a meal the second they hatch. The larva stage, that's the main eating machine, it lasts for about 2.5 weeks of just non-stop feeding. After a quick pupa stage of about a week or so, the adult pops out, ready to hunt and start the whole cycle again. And get this, a single female can lay up to 400 eggs in her 2-month life. Incredible. But this amazing insect didn't just magically appear where it was needed. Nope, it had to be discovered and put to work. Its story is really a pioneering chapter in the whole history of biological control. And what a story it is. Way back in 1891, a biologist named Albert Koebele brought this beetle all the way from its home in Australia to California to fight the citrus mealybug. And the results? They were absolutely spectacular. It saved countless orchards. But there was a catch. Coming from a warmer climate, it just couldn't handle the cold winters. Still, its success was so huge that it's now been introduced to over 60 countries. It's become a global mercenary in the war on pests. So, how is this tiny mercenary being used today? Let's take a look at its modern legacy in the world of sustainable agriculture. 250. Just let that number sink in. That's how many small mealybugs a single larva can eat while it's growing. It is an absolutely voracious predator. So today, growers use the Mealybug Destroyer in these programs where they release them seasonally, especially in greenhouses or to attack really dense hotspots of mealybugs. Now, mass producing them isn't easy, but scientists are working on artificial diets to make them more available. At the end of the day, this beetle gives us a powerful, natural alternative that helps us cut back on using so many chemical pesticides. But it's not a perfect fix for every single situation. I mean, its biggest strength is its massive appetite, but that also means it works best when mealybug numbers are already pretty high. It has a tough time getting established if there's not much food around. And like we saw in California, it just can't handle the cold. Its development basically stops below 17 degrees Celsius, that's about 63 Fahrenheit. So in a lot of places, growers have to re-release them every single year. The story of the Mealybug Destroyer is just such a powerful reminder to look to nature for solutions. It shows us that for so many of our biggest challenges in agriculture, the answer might already be out there, perfectly evolved for the job. And it really leaves you with one final thought, right? In a world that is desperately trying to rely less on chemicals, what other tiny disguised heroes are just waiting for us to find them?